Once you break free of the family spring break and summer vacation pattern, you find that some of the best travel months are in late spring and early fall. Ahead of the tourist traffic and before the heat and humidity could settle like a heavy blanket over the south, we fueled up the Navient for a 5-week cross-country trip, which among many other adventures would help us fill in our map of traveling to all 50 states. Springtime was just starting to warm the cornfields of Iowa when we wheeled into Mason City. It's the inspiration and hometown for composer Meredith Willson, and the only town we know of that has a museum devoted to a musical.
It was one of the original businesses here in Mason City. It was owned by Granville and Son, and it was really one of those odd stories. I was giving a tour one day and somebody tapped me on the shoulder and pointed at the sign and said that was my granddad. When we get into the park, I'll tell you more about what that room that's upstairs, because it's a really special spot in the whole scheme of things.
Just up the street, in the heart of town, stands a solid office building that once housed a bank where John Dillinger made an unauthorized withdrawal. And right nearby is the historic Park Inn, the last remaining Frank Lloyd Wright designed hotel still in operation. This boutique hotel has been lovingly restored with 21st century comforts and its original 1910 charm. Two hours north, there's both biking and fly fishing in northern Iowa and southern Minnesota. A local tip from our Music Man Museum guide, Jim, had us pedaling through the hills of Decorah, Iowa, and Lanesboro, Minnesota.
We have 2 slices of pie, both a la mode, and a coffee.
Now it was time to drop south to southern Missouri with a quick stopover in Kansas City to visit the World War I Museum at the base of the Veterans Memorial. Branson, Missouri is in the heart of the Ozarks and has become famous for its large collection of concert theaters. But we were more interested in outdoor activities. And by connecting with our good friends, Phil and Bev Friedman, we doubled our fun. For the next few weeks, we'd share a lot of experiences, meals, and miles. Phil had arranged for a couple of days of guided fishing. The first day was for trout on the Taneycomo River. Our guide, John Sappington, was a professional fisherman, and sure enough, on his website, there's John holding up a $260,000 check for winning a bass fishing contest. With John at the controls, the trout never had a chance. The next day, we changed it up for bass fishing on Table Rock Lake. And again, with John's guiding skills, our catch and release count went well into double digits.
Try to keep it like in the top. There you got him. Yeah. There you go.
Anyway.
There you go.
With all the fish left safely behind, Memphis was our next stop. And if you're going to hook up your motorhome in the Graceland RV Park, you might as well get on the tour bus to visit Elvis's home right across the street. Visiting Graceland is as much about appreciating Elvis's career as it is stepping back into the 70s, as his home has been fully preserved as it was when he died in 1977.
For the first time,
No, I'm not getting any Elvis stuff, but it's very tempting.
Atlanta, like most big American cities, doesn't offer much in the way of RV camping right in town. But just a little further out in the suburbs is the Stone Mountain State Park. At the heart of the park is a giant granite dome and former rock quarry. It's about a 1 mile and 800-foot climb to the top, and on the dome's north side is a 190 by 42-foot bas-relief carving of Jefferson Davis, Robert E. Lee, and Stonewall Jackson. Wrapping around the mountain is a large park with lakeside camping, golf, hiking, and great biking. From Stone Mountain, it's about a 40-minute drive into downtown Atlanta to visit the world of Coca-Cola. And with a short walk across Centennial Olympic Park, there's the CNN studios. From Atlanta, our drive to Hilton Head was a lot more pleasant than Sherman's destructive march to the sea. For almost a week, the deeply forested Hilton Head Motor Coach Resort, right in the center of the island, was our home for bike riding, walking, and fun dining. Less than an hour away were the scenic squares and charm of Savannah. And just a short drive north from Hilton Head was the quiet town of Beaufort. Moving up the coast, we spent the next 3 days in the graceful arms of Charleston.
Hi, welcome to Charleston. My name is Bill. And if you have any questions as you go through the tour, just call them out there. I'll do my best to answer for you. And up front here we have Draft Fuel, produces Otis and batteries.
It was here in Charleston Harbor at Fort Sumter where the first shots of the Civil War were fired. And just across the bay from Fort Sumter is Patriot Point, that celebrates and educates much more recent American military history. Now, there are three things about a motorhome rally. The first is that it provides you with a destination mission. The second is that you get to meet like-minded owners. And the third is that you learn a lot. Skinny Winnie's is the unofficial name for the Winnebago View and its twin, the Itasca Navion. And here they are, over 50 of our cousins, different model years, different floor plans, and different travel stories. A rally is a lot like summer camp with a BYOB, that's bring your own bunk.
3, 4, 3, 2, 0. Yep. Oh, wow. Very nice.
Asheville's most famous home is the Biltmore Estate, a 205-room, nearly 200,000 square foot American castle of the Gilded Age. The joy of motorhome travel includes flexibility, spontaneity, and surprise. All of those came together when we appeared in front of Dora's house. Dora was our company office manager who moved to Raleigh 20 years ago, and with less than a 24-hour warning, we camped out on her curb.
Mountain Mama's country road.
Take me home, country roads. All right, cut.
Okay.
We were now only one state short of visiting all 50. So from Raleigh, we headed north towards the final state, Delaware. But not before an afternoon bike tour through the town of Annapolis and the U.S. Naval Academy. It was early evening as we drove across the Chesapeake and into Delaware. Our campground was going to be the State Fair and Casino parking lot in Harrington, where much to our delight, we walked over to watch the harness races.
Sitting in second and tank, racing up on the outside.
Lead, Kinetic Yankees in front, Liz 3 miles, followed by Nag and Dr. Flamingo.
We were now a half day's drive to reconnect with the Freedmans in Gettysburg for one of America's greatest history lessons. For the next 2 days, we retained the services of a licensed guide, Dean Harry, to really learn the story of Gettysburg. We toured by car and by bike. Dean owned a wine distribution company and was also an attorney. Now, in early retirement, he leaves his home in Raleigh for weeks at a time and comes to Gettysburg to share his encyclopedic knowledge with very lucky visitors.
You just march about a quarter of a mile, find a road called Granite Schoolhouse Road that cuts in between Town and Baltimore Pike, hang a right and end up at Little Round Top, and they missed the turn. And they just keep walking.
We almost did that yesterday too.
Yeah.
It's outside.
So they keep walking south. And when they get to Rock Creek and their feet get wet, they're like, hey, we think we were here a while ago, this morning.
It was time for the Freedmans to continue north to the Maritimes and for us to head back to Colorado. As we headed into week 5, we weren't quite done prowling the backroads of the East. About 90 minutes south of Pittsburgh is perhaps one of Frank Lloyd Wright's most famous homes, Fallingwater. From the steep Appalachian hills of West Virginia, we drop down into the gentler rolling hills of Kentucky and the small community of Bardstown. This is right in the heart of bourbon country, and along what they call the Bourbon Trail, we got a real taste of this unique style of American whiskey. If there's a number to describe our spring trip, it would have to be 5. 5 weeks, 5,000 miles, and the big 5-0 for completing our goal of visiting every state. And for that, we offer up a well-deserved high five.